tell us who you are.
Hi, I'm Kai Schwemmer. I am the field director for the Utah Federation of College Republicans. I'm a student at Brigham Young University and a campus speaker / political commentator.
Cool. Thanks for coming out to pay tribute to Charlie. Give me your, were you there that day, first of all?
I was not. I was about to head over there. I had homework for one class, so I was going to get there late. And then I got a message within a student newspaper group chat that I was in that Charlie had been shot. And I thought that was, like, not true. I thought somebody was, like, pulling a prank. So I called a buddy of mine who was in preparation to serve his mission with me. And he's come down to UVU, and I called him to see if it was real. And he answered the phone, was running away, and said that it was true, that he'd been shot. Which is how I found out. And then I jumped directly and tried to update people. I started a live stream and tried to cover it and call people who I knew that were there, do the best I could covering it from my house.
Gotcha. Yeah, hard to hear for everybody.
Big time.
Yeah. Did you know Charlie personally?
I'd been to his events. I had probably brushed shoulders with him, but I didn't know him personally. Yeah, but I interacted a lot with the TPUSA organization. I think that was probably my...
In what way?
I had been brought out a number of times to speak at some campuses, TPUSA chapters. I'd also seen some speeches from TPUSA chapters from friends of mine down in Texas. And I obviously attended some of their events, America Fest, and the like.
Yeah, what do you think, where do you think Charlie's movement goes from here? Like, I hear Trump was saying his wife wants to continue his legacy. What do you think from your perspective? You're a young guy. I understand you just came back off a mission. Like you've got your whole life ahead of you. It seems like you're politically active. Like, what do you think is next?
Well, I think it's interesting, right? When you said that, I kind of realized you said, your whole life's ahead of you. It's like that's what people said about Charlie as well. It puts a tone of seriousness to that idea. But what I just got done speaking about was that should provoke a sense of urgency. I think that more students are 100% going to get involved because of his death, because of his assassination. As far as what happens with the organization, I don't know. I don't think there's anybody who's going to be able to do what Charlie did. He did so much. The organization that he created, the infrastructure he created is just unparalleled. But I am happy to hear that his wife is going to be at least taking the reins of it. I think she was probably the person who knew him best and certainly knew what his mission would be. So I think her having some executive decision-making about the direction it takes is good. I think it'll create a vacuum within commentary, but I think that vacuum, instead of being filled by one person, is going to be filled by a new kind of guard, a new team-up, alliance between factions of the right wing, which is, I think, what we need. I think we have to realize that the people who think all of us are fascists are now shooting us. So it's time to, get libertarians, conservatives, traditionalists, nationalists, get them all together and realize that we're all fighting for the same country that we used to have.
Yeah. For some reason, I haven't followed you for a long time.
No worries.
I think you're associated with the Groypers. Is that right?
There's a lot of crossover, in the accounts and whatnot, and I think a big part of it's right now you're seeing that. It's the entire right.
Are you associated with Nick Fuentes or?
I think you
were an America First guy for some reason, directly.
I'm absolutely no. I'm absolutely America First. I haven't been associated with TPUSA. I haven't been a chapter leader or anything like that. But it's I would describe the association the same way. It's I interact with those circles because, like I described, there's a team up.
Is because it's been happening today, especially specifically here in Utah. There's Burgess Owens' former running mate, Darlene McDonald, has been. She spent the last 2 days, bringing up all this stuff about Charlie Kirk, whatever he said. Today she shifted as soon as they caught the guy to. Now she's saying this is an intra-mega war.
Yeah.
That this guy was a Groyper. That he took out Charlie because he wasn't conservative enough. Do you have any takes on that? What do you think about her?
I mean, I think
about her theory.
I think she's playing right into the hands of the Democrats. I mean, to bring that up.
She's a Democrat.
Yeah, well, and that's why it's any right winger can see that it's playing into Democratic strategy to kind of shift the blame and to create infighting in the right wing exactly when we have a moment for unification. I think, frankly, if anybody's talking about the death of Charlie Kirk in those terms, trying to create some kind of enemy where there is not one, I mean, the shooter had written on a shell casing, "Catch this, fascist." I mean, his motive is pretty clear.
Well, what they're saying is that
that was planted.
And the arrows was about a video game, and it was non-political, apolitical.
It's easy to claim that half the time and not the other half. Yeah. So I agree with you. I think it's diversion, and it's just patently false. And from what I've seen of the America First crowd, I know like you said, the Groypers, they're very rowdy, but I have not seen them ever call for violence. So yeah, I think that's one thing that is very clear. And frankly, what she's doing is probably provoking more conflict and violence than what they're doing.
That makes sense. Well, thanks for your insight. That. I figured you would be the best guy to ask.
Appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's I don't know. People are very creative. You got to give them points, but I think it's just super flimsy. And the cool thing is the right wing's unified around it. Matt Walsh today was coming out and saying, yeah, that doesn't really seem that credible. And huge respect to Matt Walsh. Like to drive past those divisions is really huge.
Another thing I've seen mentioned is why wasn't there such national? Why didn't Trump do X, Y, Z? Why wouldn't a local guy put billboards up for this couple that was assassinated in Minnesota? And my argument was Charlie's this national or global figure.
Well,
what do you think about?
I think
selective kind of
treatment of like the tragedies.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm wondering.
Yeah. Well, I think you have to look at the nature of them. There are just things, obviously there's cases that will blow up for whatever reason. There's obviously some media manipulation, but I think in the case of Charlie Kirk, you're right. His influence is global. The German news was reporting about it. The India Times was the first newspaper that I was able to see Erica Kirk's speech on. So he is absolutely a global phenomenon, but even past that, this is absolutely something that represents a larger political moment. And it is a political moment that can't be compared to any recent murder. And that's why I think this is absolutely deserving of the kind of coverage that it's getting. Anybody who says that it's not deserving of that doesn't understand the seriousness of this political moment.
How do you elaborate on that? How do you mean it doesn't compare?
Well, I would just ask, who are we going to compare the assassination of Charlie Kirk to? Who else has died in recent memory that has had as large of an influence, that has created as large of an infrastructure within the right wing, that was as close to the president or to anybody who could affect true change in the country? Who had such a finger on the pulse of young people, which is also largely, what's important about this? Sure, there's attacks on politicians, but a lot of the time these are and it's not to justify it, but it is to say these are maybe state, Senate or, representatives who are incumbents, who have been incumbent for, decades. That is not going to affect the swing of politics the way that Charlie Kirk has and the way his death will. And that's why I think it's just incomparable. So anybody trying to minimize it, it's not to say that we need to do everything. I think obviously there's a limitation here. I don't think that India needs to put up a statue of Charlie Kirk, for example. But I think it is absolutely unparalleled as far as the consequence that assassination will have.
What do you think about renaming a hall in every university he's been to or something?
I think in every university is probably a bit of a stretch, but I think UVU should absolutely do something to recognize it. I think that it would be a very good way to immortalize his name, to put him on a campus immortalized as well, and to bring some kind of healing to the campus where so much pain was caused. I think that is the least that we could do.
Cool. Any final thought? What do you think? What do you hope that America's going to take from this, or the world?
I hope there is an increase of love. I hope that people realize the nastiness of politics and try to avoid it. I think that the real response that needs to come out of this is humanizing. It has to be humanizing of everybody in politics. And I also hope, this is something that maybe is not said enough, but I hope that right-wing people are capable of forgiving even those who are celebrating Charlie's death, because those people are victims of desensitization. They're victims of too much internet use. The shooter, his shell casings, these were internet slogans. It was the same thing recently with the trans shooter in near Minneapolis, right? So I think that one of the big things that needs to come out of it is that it's more interpersonal interaction, love, and understanding, humanizing.
On that note, how do we connect with these kids that are troubled? That everybody knows. There's probably 5 to 10 people that recognize some signs with this guy.
Yeah.
How do people connect with someone that's a young person that they might think is gonna lash out in that kind of way? I
think we needed, well, one part of it, maybe it doesn't answer your question, but I do think that internet use has to be severely limited. I think as well that COVID has certainly influenced those kind of attacks. These are people who were growing up or who had some formative years during the COVID era where they were under super high internet exposure and they were not leaving the house. As far as the people who were around them, I think everybody just needs to realize that this could happen to anybody. People underestimate the ability of normal people to become radicalized and to become violent. It happens all the time in small ways, in large ways, but a big thing that you can notice is the desensitization that I was talking about. I think all of the people who are celebrating Charlie Kirk's death are dangerously desensitized, and that should be a warning sign to everybody else around them.
Great. Well, thanks for giving me your thoughts, man.
Of course. Okay. Dude, I appreciate it, man. Thanks so much. Yeah, likewise. It's been a long time.
How you doing, man?
Dude, you're a stud.